You know, Matt, getting a hold of you on Discord is like trying to contact my dad on an iPad or something. Like he just has no idea what's going on. The messages are coming at him.
I
Just
felt so bad. You messaged me to play War Dogs, and I'm over here playing War Dogs on stream, and I don't hear it. I don't see it, and I felt terrible.
when you're streaming, you're locked in. You could get 10,000 Discord messages. The house could be on fire. You're like, hey man, I gotta interact with my crew here. There goes my voice.
I do notice some things, but when we're streaming, it doesn't. You don't hear like the notifications anymore. It's on silent. So
Right.
Yeah, I don't usually see it on the side.
It's okay. I had an absolute blast playing with Operator Drewski instead of you.
Oh, with Drewski too? No.
I know. They were doing like big crew stuff, and
Nice.
that was fine, But I think that's a good spot to start the podcast. Welcome to the Level With Me podcast, everybody, where we talk about the weekly gaming news and things that we think about related to games and a little bit of movie, pop culture stuff in here as well. But the big story of this week is the WARDOGS beta that went on this weekend. If you are an FPS gamer, you heard about WARDOGS at this point. It's blowing up, dude. It's blowing up.
Not surprised at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about this the other week when we had early access with their earlier playtest, and it's like, yeah, you can kind of tell when something has the sauce, and so it doesn't come as a surprise. It's great to see that people were enjoying it too.
Yeah, so many servers, very, very big playtest this weekend. Over 100,000 players dropped on, and I think a lot of that's gated by pre-ordering. So that means I think a lot of people bought the game, basically.
Yeah.
And people are getting into it because it takes a while to unlock and level up some stuff in that game. And by the end of the weekend, people are flying attack helicopters, and there's main battle tanks roaming around, and you're like, okay, things are escalating here. I've been having a blast with it. It's the rounds vary a lot depending on like what your team's up to and what's going on. It does feel a bit chaotic. I think it does still linger on that sort of that classic Battlefield formula of, does anybody really know what's going on, or is anybody in charge of this crazy battle? Not really. It feels more tactical than other games, but at the end of the day, I'm like, I think it's still total chaos, right? We're all in agreement that it's complete chaos in this like organized battle. There's just a lot more incentives to hang out with your teammates, but
I will say it is less chaotic in terms of you feeling like you have an influence, because if you're working with some buds, like you can go in and take out their, mortar team, or you can go in and take out, get in the circle. If you're just in the circle and you're hanging out in there, you're probably helping your team way more than you ever would in Battlefield, because in Battlefield, you go take a point. It's like, well, I can only be in one place at one time. This has one objective in the center that moves around. And if you're there, you're probably doing a lot for your team.
Yep. You count as two players, basically, if you're in that circle. So it's kind of classic. So I was never big into the Arma King of the Hill like days. Apparently that was like a big thing for Arma. And this is sort of what that's based on. And so I think legacy Arma players are coming in and being like, yeah, I did this before, yada, yada, yada. But for everybody else who wasn't crazy enough to try and get into Arma, because it's a whole ordeal to play that game mode, this is like accessibility for the milsim shooter, essentially. And I've been preaching this for years, and it's always funny that the milsim audience, the gamers for the milsim crowd, seem to be the biggest obstacle to making their own game accessible, because they're always like, no, more realism, more confusion, more complexity, like give me all the like crazy stuff that makes this game very hard to understand for anyone just getting into it. So if the devs actually push back against that and they're like, no, we're going to find a good balance between here, you can do all this tactical stuff and you can just get in and start playing right away. That's what WARDOGS is kind of bringing to the table here, where there is a lot of complexity to it. I certainly don't understand all the nuances of the game yet. Like I've barely even got into building things, The most I know is that you can build stuff and other people build stuff and they build cool anti-air installations and stuff, and then I get shot down by it. But otherwise, I've like gone deep down the piloting path and like other parts of the game. And so there's huge depth there, but it doesn't feel like it's something that I got to go watch a YouTube video to access, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's accessible. I will say the flying is a little tough.
It's hard
on PC. I changed my keybinds completely, and now it plays more like a Battlefield style. It doesn't feel like the weight of it is not Battlefield, but at least like when I hit W, it goes up. When I go down or I hit S, it goes down. That kind of a thing, right?
Yep.
And also when I move my mouse, that causes it to go up, like to tip up and down. Right?
How many people did you kill this weekend by your bad piloting, Matt?
0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 0, because I spent most of my time in the firing range and just flying around because I knew I didn't want to like just destroy everyone's dreams, right?
Matt, I did one practice range, crashed horrifically, was like, I'm bored of this. Let's go into the public server.
Yeah.
Somebody left a Huey on the pad and I was like, well, I know how to fly. In theory, I got in. 6 people got in, Matt. 6 people.
Did you warn them?
I did. I was like, hey guys, we got a 50-50 chance of making it to the LZ. And they're like, oh, you know, of course, like I like those odds. So, you know, all the LARPing and role playing and comms. And then I immediately nosedived into the forest on the way there. And yeah. It's funny though, because everybody's in good spirits. Like we all respawn back at base, and they're like, who was flying that thing, you know? And I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna excuse myself.
Just gonna kind of move over to the side here.
But I did eventually get the hang of it, and then I was playing helicopter taxi guy for a whole round basically, and just like enjoying it. I was like,
yeah.
I haven't shot at a single person and I'm having a great round right now. I don't know, especially when you got 4 guys and you like coming into a hot drop zone. What I was enjoying is helicopter medics. So like I do a hot drop, but like maybe one guy in the chopper gets shot and he dies on the chopper. I can then bring him to a safe zone, go revive him, bring him back into the combat. I'm like,
I didn't know that.
Okay. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Also, I'd see like another chopper go down or crash out of bounds. You can land there and then just revive all the guys if they don't respawn immediately. So there's a lot of like fun opportunities that open up when you're just going in as a non-combatant almost, where you're like, I'm chopper medic right now and I can ferry people or I can heal people or I can bring in supplies to the battlefield. And it rewards you for it. It's so cool.
Yeah. The combined arms aspect of WARDOGS is probably my favorite aspect, where it really makes you feel like you're a team. I know there's been some criticisms where people are, because you're right, it's chaos. A lot of people are just running around and doing their thing. But if you get like a couple of people that are actually trying to like build a fob at the start, you're building, you open up the door for a cargo truck to roll in, right? And then you have helicopters coming in and dropping people off and dropping off cargo. All the while, your base is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's becoming more fortified. And that's just like the first 5-10 minutes of the match is like, this feels like a group effort. This feels really immersive, and I absolutely love it. Like the role playing part of it is of my brain is just going crazy because it's really, really cool in that respect. As for flying, I didn't do a lot of it, but I know a lot of people were complaining it was a little bit too hard. I think that's probably because people just got to get used to the growing pains of like learning, because once you kind of get used to it, it's clunky, it's slow, but I think it's designed to be clunky and slow. You don't want them to be moving super fast, because then you're never going to be able to like take them out with like a good shot with an RPG or something on the ground or something, right?
Yeah. So I'm not enough of an Arma pilot to know what the difference is between this game and Arma. I can definitely tell you the difference between this game and Battlefield. Battlefield's very arcadey. This brings in a little bit more realism, although some people are complaining about it being unrealistic in certain ways. But with helicopter piloting in general, the more realistic you get with the sim, the more momentum and burning off your speed becomes a mechanic of it. In Battlefield, you can come to a stop immediately. In this game, if you're going fast, the chopper will not stop on a dime. You have to really bank into like a turn to help bleed off that speed and almost fly it a little bit more like an airplane. To a degree, and it does look and feel a bit more realistic. But if you're coming into it from an arcadey game, all of a sudden that becomes very challenging. And what's cool about that is that I think you can spend a little time with it as a novice and get the basics of like, I can take off and I can do a very slow basic landing, and it's like, it's not fancy or whatever, but it's enough to kind of do what we need to do. And then you see a pilot come in fast and bank and bleed off that speed super fast and get in for a combat landing. And you're like, okay, that guy earned his tip today. Like that guy is kicking butt. And the difference between that pilot and a novice pilot is we're going to land and get out before everybody has time to like zero in on a helicopter landing and kill everybody as soon as we get out of the chopper.
Yeah. What was your favorite part from the playtest?
I mean, piloting for sure.
It's piloting, yeah. I mean, it's so cool how like you can literally do whatever you want. I think the sandbox is probably one of its strongest points, right? Yeah. You want to be a pilot, you want to do. I will say, I didn't feel very rewarded for driving people to the front lines, and dropping cargo off at the front lines. I was trying to get to like the truck so I could bring in like the bigger cargo.
Yeah,
but man, I was spent like 2 games just ferrying some resources maybe every once in a while, because most people don't want to jump in a car to get to the front lines. It's slow. They want to get in the helicopter, right? Yeah. So I'm over here just like feeling like a jackass, like bringing cargo in and not feeling like I'm getting rewarded because the people at the front aren't making a fob. Yeah. They're not, so I just feel like
that part of it's inconsistent. Same thing with Chopper is one round I spawned as a Chopper pilot and it's like, guess what? 10 other guys on my team were like, I want to be a Chopper pilot ferrying people. Yep. Then we're all taking like maybe one guy per run. And you're like, okay, so you have to switch up your role. The game at least teaches you like, hey, you can't come in and expect to be the Chopper pilot this round and get tons of points, because there might be somebody who's already taken up that role. And so you kind of have to adapt. And what other milsims do is they go, no, there's 2 sniper roles available. If Tim gets the sniper role before you, then that's it. Tim's the sniper this game and you're out of luck. This game is like, everybody can be the sniper, but that's not going to work if you don't have enough sniper targets. If everybody's shooting the sniper rifle and then what's up?
Well, I have a complaint.
Yeah. Oh, snipers in this game.
Snipers. Yeah, holy hell. Every time you step out, it's like, bam, bam. Holy, leave me alone.
Why don't we talk about the infantry combat a little bit? Because I would say kind of when you start meshing together some of the clunkiness, some of the visuals, and some of the infantry combat, WARDOGS does have some weaker spots and some rougher angles here for sure. What did you think about the infantry combat experience?
So I like the infantry combat. Excuse me. I was really using a lot of the SMGs, little recoil. I was liking to use an SMG with a rocket, and the rockets are really heavy, and I didn't want to be too bogged down because the weight system, if you get too heavy, you can't even like sprint if you're on like super heavy, right? So you got to really make sure you're kind of managing your weight a little bit. So I was gravitating towards the SMGs, and they're good. They're really consistent. They were fun to use up close. Further distances, obviously, you're going to start to struggle. It felt like the weapons were competent. I don't know, because it was so early, I don't know how the armor is going to play into it. Like you can get 0 armor all the way up to like tier 4 armor. And that tier 4 armor is heavy and it's expensive, but like how is that going to impact the meta? This will segue early or later on, because we got to talk about like meta and balance, because that's going to be probably the biggest question.
Yeah.
But in terms of actually like fighting other players in medium to close range, I found it really enjoyable. Getting great flanks, felt rewarding, felt consistent. Netcode was a little spotty at times, but not too shabby. But the one thing that I found to be very frustrating at times was just the sheer amount of snipers. Snipers are really powerful in this game, and they are in every bush, and they are in every tower, and you just kind of have to deal with it and accept it and try and maneuver around the map in a way where to try to avoid them.
I think so. This is my sort of, barely played the game hot take on some major balance problems is the map. Everybody, it's King of the Hill. So 3 teams are coming to this one circle in the middle of the map, and you get rewarded for just being in that circle. So if you are live and in that circle, you're going to be making money for your team. or for yourself, and helping out your team's overall point distribution in that circle. Snipers, by nature, they just want to get into a building, peek out a window, not expose themselves, not take risks. This game rewards that quite heavily, where you're constantly getting cash for just doing that. Even if you're not getting kills, you're getting rewards for just hanging out there. Then the map layout has huge sight lines globally for the whole map. So snipers have like basically a playground of, you get it to a tall point, you can see the whole freaking map. If somebody stands still, you can headshot them on the map. Like, it gets it's too advantageous, I think, for the snipers right now. And they could balance that out a bit better by reducing the sight lines. And I'm not really sure how to balance the other angle of it, is because they just get so much reward for being campy, even if they're not doing jack for their team. Even if they spend 2 hours getting 4 kills, for their team, they still get a ton of cash just for existing and hiding in a circle somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I think there's some issues there where most of the other squad people or whatever are kind of more pushed towards doing their role. Go build this thing, go drive your tank somewhere, go, if you're assault the point and take it on. Snipers, like, just be the campy rat bastard in the bush somewhere all around, so I don't know. It seems a little too rewarding for that, but yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know either. I like the fact that you can just exist on them, like, because you could say the same argument for like the person who's back in the base just building and defending, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're not even I had a friend who had 0 kills and he was near the top of the scoreboard in terms of cash earned, because he was just building and he was just being a team player, right? And I think that should be rewarded, and I actually like that. And that sniper isn't just potentially just not sniping, they're also spotting. Like, if they're using that spot and identifying where like an enemy fob is, and now everyone on your team knows where that fob is, like, that's really helpful. And the spotting, if you spotted an infantry, like, right where they are on the minimap. Like, it's super potent, right?
That's true.
So I think that just the sniper rifles in general, at least when I was playing, just felt a little bit too powerful. You could like you said, the line of sights are really strong in some places, so they could maybe adjust the map slightly. But it also could just be a bullet velocity thing, like maybe like a little bit slower. I don't want to speak too much on balance, because like it was just for the weekend, but it was you do start to be like, damn, everywhere I go is a sniper somewhere, and it was getting a little tedious, but not too bad.
Yeah. I guess to kind of further iterate on some of the infantry combat. The power of being in a building versus running across an open field. Like, there was moments where I was like, okay, we're going to make it across this map, and you just wouldn't see another moving enemy soldier at all, because they're all hiding in a building or looking out of a window. And
actually, yeah,
I think part of that is because the sniper angles are so aggressive. So people just aren't coming out. And like, when they move, it's like a quick movement between buildings and stuff, which I guess is realistic. But at the same time, if you're trying to get out and fight other players and see movement and get like in these fun, open engagement areas, it felt a little less common versus, I don't know. I think the punishment for being out and about in the open was so extreme that like everybody was like, now we're just going to wait till we get to the buildings and then we'll have little building firefights or whatever, because
you're not alone. There were people I noticed online on, posts and stuff that were saying how it feels like people are just camping in the tower as a sniper, like the big drill sites, or just camping inside of the fob just because they know that it's going to get them money and building stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because that was just a reliable way of making money, and people want to make money because that's how they progress. This is something they've addressed, and they said that for the early access, this is going to be the thing that they focus on, is the balance of the meta. How much money you're getting for doing certain tasks, how much things are going to cost, and this can get to another segment. I was able to play in a tank, and it was incredible. It cost 500,000 to buy to unlock it, and there was only 14,000.
500,000.
Yeah. And then it was 14,000 to use it. So once you've unlocked it, you can, every time you die, you can come back with 14,000. And that felt steep at the beginning, because the normal loadout is maybe like 7 to 10. If you're really juiced,
till you
it's
kill
like 10.
50 people with it.
Yeah, so 14,000 seems like a lot. But man, we went, by the end of it, we had 100,000 by the end of our run. I took out helicopter, like 4 helicopters.
Dang,
with just
dude.
like the AP. We were taking out people's bases. It was incredible. But it was like, this feels pretty nuts for one vehicle that only costs 14,000. The point I'm trying to make is that is something I think they're going to be adjusting and tuning as the early access goes in.
It is, man, the balance of this game, I have no idea, right? Because
it's gonna be tough.
As soon as we're at the start where people don't have things unlocked, so you're like, this is fine. And people also don't know how to exploit the game, or they know the meta super well. As soon as all that stuff gets unlocked and people are spawning tanks at the start of a round or something, or getting the attack helicopter, which apparently is insane. Like, it's like, the gunner on it can just like clear a base out, and you're like, okay, like, how's that going to change the meta? We weren't experiencing all the crazy meta shifts. I think they're going to have a real challenge with that. It seems like the devs are kind of on point to want to keep the game as balanced as possible. So hopefully they can stay on top of it. But to try and I
was just going to say, I think it's because those vehicles, people are still learning. There are counters to them, but some of those counters were locked behind knowledge. Like you need to build a fob, and then you need to build that like kind of out in a field somewhere, and then build just kind of a place where you are taking out helicopters, and that's just kind of your job. So if anyone decides to fly on over, you can take care of them. Or you got to put a lot of time into the support class to unlock either the RPG, or more specifically, what I never got to was the AP rocket. There is a rocket that takes out armor. And I have no idea how much damage it does. I never saw anyone use it because it takes so long to grind for it, right? And that unlock, I think, will make potentially that tank that felt pretty unstoppable when I was playing, maybe not so unstoppable when 2 guys are taking you out.
Yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing too, is like in Battlefield, there's always a rocket available to everybody. But in this, they're like, no, you got to level up. So there is quite literally a level advantage in this game where you can't contribute to the anti-armor fight unless you unlock anti-armor stuff. And that could take quite a while.
Yeah. And you did allude to the problem of what happens when people have just a ton of money. Because they are trying, there is a system where you can buy gold, and that gold is a way to then buy cool cosmetics. So if you wanted to have like a cool camo for your weapon, it's going to cost you a lot of gold, which means you have to really grind for it, which means you're taking money out of your pocket that could have been used for whatever.
Yeah.
And now you have to grind again. So that's one way they're tackling it. But what happens in, a year after the game is out, if there's no wipes or anything, people have just billions of dollars. They're just like, hey, everyone, let's all get into tanks, right? Which could be fun, but like that throws everything out the window in terms of, okay, how are we going to make this work?
Well, so for anyone who's not familiar with it, is like you get money in the game from playing, and in that round, you can spend that money on weapons and tanks and whatever, and you bring it in, and so you're risking a little bit of your cash every time you spawn in and go, but you can keep that cash between rounds, and you can use it to unlock stuff. Money is not just your in-round progression, it's your overall progression for unlocking stuff as well. And so it's kind of a weird mechanic where you're like, oh, I can take all the stuff I earned and did in that round and like use it to like supercharge my next round also. Which is, I'm like, that seems ripe for exploitation or just crazy out of balance stuff. It's hard to know how that's going to play in the long run, but I do kind of like it to a degree also. It's fun where you're just like, I think I'll start this round with the little bird with miniguns on it, and I'm just going to light up whichever chopper drops some people off into deployment right away. So, but then there's nothing stopping somebody else from getting the attack helicopter early round and like shooting me down or whatever. So it's the meta is just going to become crazy, I think.
I think they already were experimenting at the end. They said that they had a couple of servers that were infantry only. I'm assuming that meant like infantry only and maybe transport vehicles and no like tanks and stuff. And I was like, I could see that being a good way of having, just giving the community options of what kind of play style you want. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's going to be a lot of community servers that are like, hey, we're going to fine tune a couple of things and maybe have a progression inside of a round where the games are like 2 hours long, but you start off with a little bit, you make a lot of money for your actions throughout the game so that you, by the end, you have like the better stuff. So you start off, it's kind of like an escalation match in Battlefield, right? Where you start off with very little and then by the end you've got the best. That could also be kind of fun. More of a commitment, but you know, there could be some communities out there I could see that would really enjoy that experience.
Yeah. It is, speaking of 2-hour games, it is incredibly long for every round, which as a dad gamer, like, it's not the kind of game that I'm going to hop on for when I got 30 minutes. And that's very important to me these days where I'm like, what can I enjoy for a little bit and then pop out of? This will not be one of those games.
Correct.
Like, you got to commit to it. It's like, this is what you're doing for the evening, the whole evening.
This is your evening entertainment.
Yeah.
Which, for me, not a dad, I just lost track of time. I would like blink and an hour would go by. I'm like, what the hell? And you know, when that happens, the game is great.
Yeah, no, I stayed up till like 1 the first night playing it, and it was like, I think I only played 2 matches. Like, I played 2 matches, and it feels like hours and hours have gone by. So I'm happy for the devs. I'm excited. It seems like they got a big hit on their hands. Obviously, a lot of question marks moving forward in terms of balance and longevity. What happens once players hit their progression curve and then they're done with it, and then they go, okay, well, now what? A lot of stuff to wonder about, but I think they got a good start on their hands.
Oh, absolutely. I know we've been kind of critical about like, you know, how things are going to go forward, but don't let that you know, fool you. I think both of us absolutely adored the game. I put 8 hours into like for the first night and the second night I put another 8 hours. So
also
really liking it.
To represent Jason, who's in chat here, who I know tried the game out and didn't like it and refunded it. And he's a hardcore Battlefield player, you know, or, you know, a hardcore fan of Battlefield, I should say. This game isn't going to be for everyone. It's more mil-simmy. It's way more slow-paced. I had rounds where I finished after hours with like 4 kills or something, you know. It's not going to be for everyone. It's a fun new experience, but if you like that Battlefield, I just need to get in and get some kills right now, like it's not going to be that. So
it's
go in with
Squad and Arma more than anything else. I keep reiterating this because so many people are like, it's Battlefield. I'm like, if it's Battlefield in the sense, the same way that Arma is Battlefield, it has vehicles and infantry and it's on a large map like that. I mean, if that makes it Battlefield, then I guess you're kind of right. But I think don't let that dissuade you though, because it's not like when you play Squad for the first time, it feels like you're a fish out of water. You're like, what the hell is even going on, right? This makes it a lot more approachable. Like you know who your team is. You can see the map. You can see where things are. It's a lot easier to kind of get into the action and not just feel like, oh, I'm getting shot from someone. I have no idea where it is. This kind of sucks, right? So yeah, it's not for everybody, but for people that it does vibe with, it's gonna kick ass.
Yep.
I sure hope so.
We're in a new era of the accessible milsim FPS. Arma Reforger did a lot to make it more accessible. It's still complicated.
It did.
This, I think, goes further and is like, let's make this for everyone, guys. We can do it, you know. And it's like, guess what? Tons of people are showing up for it now that there isn't this huge knowledge barrier between them and fun.
And they got up to, I think what you said, 100,000 players just on Steam, which is incredible. And a lot of people are praising it for that. And, you know, congratulations to them. This can caveat, if you'd like to talk about the Modern Warfare beta, we can, unless there was something else you want to discuss first.
No, go for it. I didn't play it, so you'll be.
That's fine.
Front loading that.
So, you know how Arc Raiders came out and Battlefield 6 came out around the same time?
Sure.
And Battlefield 6 had a huge Steam performance, 600,000, and then it started to go down. Then Arc Raiders came out, and it was outperforming in terms of like it was keeping its player base a little bit more long term, and everyone was praying Arc Raiders the best thing ever, and it was. Dude, Arc Raiders I still think to this day is fantastic, but back then everyone was praising it like this is what AAA dev should have been doing all along. It took a AA dev to come on in, an indie dev kind of to come on in and show them what's up. We're seeing the same exact thing now happen with this now, where Arc Raiders has gone down in player base, right? Because it's a smaller company, not a big giant company, and now they're making fun of like, oh, Arc Raiders dropped the ball, blah 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 blah, and now we're seeing the same thing. People are praising WARDOGS for 100,000, and now Call of Duty the beta isn't doing as well as WARDOGS, and so they're like, oh, see, look, AAA's bad. Small indie game or AA good, right? It's like, okay, what happens? Are we going to do the same gambit again where you're going to start pointing at like, oh man, WARDOGS dropped the ball in the future? I realize this is my own personal hell that I've created for myself, that I care about what these people are saying.
Sure.
But I'm just so tired of the grift. And I wanted to say, I've noticed your trends, online grifters.
Yeah.
And I see you for who you are. Anyways, so Call of Duty. This might surprise everybody. It's a Call of Duty game. And it plays a lot like, dare I say, a Call of Duty game.
But with more parkour animations, right?
Yeah. Yes. Well, actually, this time around, they don't have like the Omni movement system like they did. At least I don't think so. I don't think you can like sprint backwards and jump back. Maybe you can. I don't know. I'm not really a big movement gamer or anything. But the experience was enjoyable. The thing is, it's Call of Duty, and it's kind of hard to like get past it. Shooting people and winning firefights is enjoyable. The sound effects are nice. The environments are okay. It does still look a lot like Modern Warfare 2019 because they're using the same engine. So you're like, is this a DLC or not? So that kind of rubs, that's kind of a little bit only okay. But yeah, it's fine. It's okay. Decent map so far. I've been hearing from people that have been playing that they like it, and they said this is one of the better CODs in a minute. Definitely better than Black Ops 7 because that was an absolute dumpster fire disaster, especially that single player campaign. So reception seems to be okay among some, but then you go online and everyone's saying once again like WARDOGS good, Call of Duty bad, can't even hold on to his player base. So it's kind of hard to like gauge. Exactly.
I don't think anything's changed essentially, other than maybe Call of Duty is slightly falling out of the ultra popularity niche, where it's like so many people were excited about every new COD release for a while. And now that audience, I think, is becoming a little more segmented and a little bit smaller potentially than it used to be. And because there's so many competing titles now, indie scene has stepped up so massively with games like WARDOGS and Arc Raiders and whatever. I mean, Arc Raiders isn't really indie. Neither of these teams are super indie. They're decently large teams, but AA is really stepping up with some strong multiplayer competition. So everybody can find the game that they want. And guess what? Turns out a lot of people who liked Call of Duty also like these Milsim games and other games, and they're branching out more. So
I know some people have said that Call of Duty has gotten stale and it's run its course, but I feel like people have been saying that for like decades at this point, right? So it's like, is it stale? Is it because you yourself feel it's stale?
So is Battlefield 6. I mean, BF6 arguably is Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 3 with some paint
in a lot of ways.
Like everybody's like, Wake Island, Carrier Assault, Attack Helicopter, all stuff that you could do in BF4 essentially. Like they're not reinventing the wheel here. It's just a modern, updated version of what we've always had. Yeah.
So now that you say that, when I was playing COD, I had a thought, because a lot of people are saying that Battlefield 6 is basically Call of Duty in a lot of ways, right? And boy, you play Modern Warfare 4 and then you go play Battlefield, like it's like there's no way you can make the comparison. The difference is just
I like playing insane. One of them and I don't like playing the other one. So
that's true.
There's a difference there. Yeah.
There's also the debate around the aim assist. The aim assist it's pretty wild. There's been some clips going around I've seen where it just straight like tracks. You'll notice like a guy will like jump around cover, and the person who is aiming at them, they'll aim at them and it will follow the jump basically perfectly. And then halfway through the jump is when they start shooting. Yeah. So it's like, so you reacted to the jump, but you didn't start shooting immediately, which tells me and everyone that's watching, hopefully, that it was the AA that was actually making the decision to follow the target, not necessarily the player. And you really notice it when you're going against some players who are good with, because you have to be good. There's definitely a skill involved. I don't think every AA makes me think anti-air. Aim assist, it's not like it's been part of console forever. It's not like cheating, but it does seem to be pretty heavy here. And going against someone who has the skills using a controller and aim assist on top of it, it's pretty tough to win some firefights when you're using mouse and keyboard. The bullet flinch, you're like actually flinching over their head. When they flinch, it doesn't really flinch much because it goes right back down because the aim assist, and so they're really not missing any of their shots. And this has been an issue for a lot of Call of Duties, and well, it's
a controller first game, and
yeah, it really is.
That was super apparent when COD was blowing up and the PC streaming crowd was kind of having to play it, and they all ended up using controllers instead of keyboard and mouse, which is what they normally play with, because of the advantage on controller was so strong. They could pick up and play with their secondary control scheme, you know, the thing that they're not as good with, and do better because the aim assist is so strong.
I believe
I've always hated it. It just makes me, it just grosses me out with how much they compress essentially the skill ceiling for a game. You know, they're just like, let's just compress it down. And then when all the strategy for high level play is learning the nuanced mechanics of how aim assist works, you're like, what are we like? That's what you're studying, as opposed to like map layout or weapon recoil. You're studying the nuanced mechanics for how aim assist works, so you can activate it the best possible. Like, it's just gross. I don't like any of it.
I'm not a fan of it either. I don't want to come across as someone who's anti aim assist, because I do think that it makes
I'm anti aim assist.
Fair enough. I think that aim assist is great for a game like Call of Duty in moderation, because they are trying to appeal to a large audience. They want anyone to be able to pick up a controller and have fun and shoot at someone and be able to actually hit targets. Because if they're just going around like this, like, they're not going to have fun.
Sure.
Right? Like, they're just not. And so the ergonomics of a controller, especially for someone who is brand new, is going to be much harder to aim and be accurate than just like a mouse, right? Because people can point and click on a browser with some accuracy. Try clicking on a browser you get what I'm going with, right?
Yes. This isn't an unheard of skill set like in gaming. Like, people can do it. Yeah.
Right. So I don't think it's bad, but I do think that they probably overtuned it. I think they probably went a bit overboard.
Yeah. And I do say I'm anti-aim assist, but I'm anti the level of aim assist that they have in COD.
Fair enough.
Like, I think it should always, if it's used on console, it should be very subtle to help people who are learning and trying to figure things out. And I do think that like high skill should be able to exceed the benefits of aim assist, as opposed to like basically just combine aim assist into high skill. And then you're like, okay, what are we even doing? It's more of a movement mechanics shooter for people now than it is an aiming game, which is weird.
And
anyway,
then finally,
Oh, more. Yeah.
Skill-based matchmaking is being talked about again, baby.
Oh, is it that time of year?
Every single year. I feel like I'm going crazy over here. So more people are talking about the skill-based matchmaking, and I think Infinity Ward came out and said, yeah, we tried, or Call of Duty came out like, we tried opening the matchmaking up and making it more loose in past CODs or in Black Ops 7, and people were leaving games more often, and people were leaving and they weren't playing as often. And so they're like, we're going to go back. And it's like, no, that's making it worse. It's like, dude, I don't think there's any winning here. The
winning is you go and you play Battlefield or you play WARDOGS, because those games just have massive servers, and SBMM wouldn't really do much in those anyway. So
yeah. I think Battlefield might have like a small skill-based matchmaking, but it definitely doesn't feel like it's like throwing you against all of the sweats, right? So it feels much more open, which makes it feel just a lot more organic. And I think that's why I agree with a lot of people. The SBMM in Call of Duty has always felt a little artificial, where you'll just have games. Some games will just be ridiculous. Other games will be really like, you're like, oh my God, now I'm kicking ass. And it just kind of feels like they're turning the dial on their end, which feels weird. So I get why people are frustrated, but I also don't understand the mentality of why they're claiming that they would lie about.
Oh yeah. No, I think they're right. I think they're right with the numbers, where they're like, no, if we do it, the game is more successful, and you're telling us not to do it, so you're telling us to be less successful. So I believe all of that. I think it's just an old school format where SBMM has such an impact on the feeling of the game, because it's tiny little rounds. And the thing that always drove me crazy is I never felt like I was progressing as a player, where I was getting better at the game, but because it's always matching me against people of similar skill levels, I'm like, am I getting better or am I not getting better? Because you keep having rounds where you're like, I'm doing worse and worse in some of these rounds. And I feel like I've really been dialing in and learning the maps and all this stuff. And it's like, it's hard to get that sense of progression, where in other games, like a Battlefield game, I feel that way more, where I'm like, I got this down now. I'm kicking butt like consistently.
Yeah, I hear you, but a counter argument to that is playing something like Rainbow Six Siege or a more competitive game. I felt this way on Deadlock. When I first got started with Deadlock, I was trash. Slowly started getting better, and I was playing ranked. I wasn't playing ranked, but I was in the ranked rotation, and I was slowly making my way up the bracket, and I was going against people that were clearly better than me, right? Like they were kicking my ass, and I was learning from them during that, but it was still putting me with people that were still around my bracket, right? It wasn't putting me with, grandmaster guys, but it also wasn't putting me with the lowbies. It was a bracket, but I could feel that progression. Then I noticed I was getting better as time went on, even though technically they were still around the same level. I don't know how Call of Duty could ever achieve that, because it's just a different beast, maybe.
Yeah.
It's just because it's meant to be more casual. I don't know.
I think we're just going to have the SBMM argument every year and for the rest of time, basically.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I haven't played it, and I wasn't planning on playing it. So, it's at the point where COD isn't really offering anything new. I'm not trying to knock the game. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you kind of know you're not going to like it. So you don't even have to buy it or play it these days. You're like, either I'm a COD guy or I'm not a COD guy. So there's no mystery.
It's a comfort game, I think, to a lot of people. They know Call of Duty. They understand Call of Duty. And it's just their game that they buy, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of more average dude who just has, one or two games. And that's all they play. And that's cool.
Yeah.
And for them, I wish them luck. I hope they enjoy it. I enjoyed a little bit of the time that I played, but you're right. It doesn't seem like it's reinventing the wheel. This isn't a Modern Warfare 2019 situation where they're like, this is like a new kind of experience, right? That's going to bring a lot of people back. Yeah. I do think it's better than the last title, though.
Now, switching gears a little bit, Matt, you've been busy just putting those GTA 6 videos up on the internet everywhere. It's a fun hobby.
Not me, sir.
we should shut that one down pretty quickly. Matt is not the leaker. I'm just making a joke. I don't want to mess with what is it, 2K or whatever over this.
They're definitely
litigious.
Not messing around right now. They're definitely not messing around.
So Grand Theft Auto 6 has had gameplay leaks all over the internet for like a week now. The guy who's been leaking it is going to he's going to be, I don't see any future for him in which he's not going to jail in some way or another. Because the last leaker, I think, has gone through some pretty intense stuff for leaking GTA 5. The crazy thing about these Grand Theft Auto 6 leaks, and I did watch a few of them, and it looks good. It looks like a Grand Theft Auto game. The world looks very, very immersive, where just like characters and things are happening very naturally around you, like to an extent where they're pushing it beyond a lot of games that, I would say they're the best at doing this. So they're pushing it beyond, like, say, Red Dead Redemption 2 and GTA 5 and all that in terms of the world feeling alive and cool. But I don't really want to focus on it too much because these are leaks and it's an unfinished state that they're leaking. So we can make some assumptions.
I haven't really seen anything. I've scrolled the internet and every so often I'll see like a picture, but I don't really dive into leaks.
Nothing surprised me massively. It just kind of looked like what you would expect, but better in most
We're going to
ways.
see the actual Netflix, the Netflix exclusive.
Oh yeah. Is that out by the time the podcast is out?
Grand Theft Auto 6 reveal date. That will be on, show me the date. No, it doesn't just pop up.
The Netflix premiere. It's like, if you liked watching your sci-fi fantasy movie, you'll like
August 27th.
Okay. So no, it's not, it won't be live by the time this podcast goes live. But I kind of lost my train of thought with the GTA 6 leak stuff, but
Well, I mean, it's just, I know the internet right now is going, they're like, they're like rooting for him, and then you've got, it's a mess. It's a mess right now. I don't have any skin in this game. I'd like to play the game, but yeah, I'm sure the corporates over there are none too happy with what's going on.
I know
right
what
now.
I wanted to say about this. So this is interesting. Is Rockstar basically for the development of GTA 6, they canceled work from home. They brought everyone back into the office 5 days a week. They stopped letting people remote in access files, do anything to work on the game when they are not in the office, making it super challenging. And for a lot of those employees, who are like parents, they got kids, like anyone who's a parent knows how important work from home or remote work stuff is, because you got to take your kid to the doctor one day. So you have to, you're constantly moving around and doing stuff where you're like, man, if some of these work from home rules really let me actually get a full day of work in while also trying to run errands and stuff. So it was really challenging on the employees, and there's a lot of pushback on this and people upset about it. But the whole reason for this was to prevent the leaks that they had with Grand Theft Auto 5. So they did all of this, years and years and years and years of development to try and stop leaks and all this stuff, which again is so stupid. Like, it's, how hard is it to put a video on a thumbstick and walk out of the building? Like, if somebody really wants to leak it, they're going to leak it, and that's just how it's going to be, whether you're working from home or not. Like, you just have to accept that if somebody wants to do it, they're going to find a way. You're not the Pentagon or something. There's not like crazy security at every door, and then also who wants to work in that environment anyway, right? So they went through they jumped through every hoop to try and stop the leaks. The leaks happened anyway, and now you got a whole bunch of employees who are like, cool, so we suffered for years and years, but, having to come into the office to do any ounce of work and not being able to remote in, which is what every other tech job allows you to do to some extent. So
I can see why they'd be frustrated by that.
Yeah, we'll see if their policy changes for the next game. But to me, it seems insane that they went through all of that to stop leaks, which then happened anyway. Also, it's funny, but who cares? At the end, I'm surprised they care that much, to be honest. It's like, it's leaks, I get it. It kind of ruins your surprise, but I watched one for like 3 seconds.
The game, when we actually get to be able to play the game, like being able to see it early. And some people are saying like, oh, they should have shown the gameplay off a lot sooner, and I completely agree with that. Holy cow, it should not have taken them this long to actually show us the meat of what the game has to offer. But at the same time, it doesn't change the fact that doesn't change the release date, right? Like, what I care about is that the game itself, and is it good? So
they had to get it running at 60 FPS, man. That's my theory. They didn't have the performance running high enough, and they're like,
potentially,
if they showed it off too early, people would be like, oh, 30 FPS or whatever.
30 FPS, yeah. That's valid. That is a valid theory.
Hey, speaking of that, so that kind of, I call it like a Witcher's-like style game, Dreamwalker. You remember that one? Where it's like...
Dreamwalker.
It's an action RPG that looks kind of like The Witcher, but you're like a vampire or something like that. I can't remember.
You mean Dawnwalker?
Dawnwalker. That's it. Dawnwalker. Dreamweaver, Dawnwalker, Dreamwalker, something like that. So basically, vampires. They're showing off the game a little bit, or talking about the game, and kind of mumbled around the FPS side of things. And then somebody was like, what's it going to be running at? And they're like, we're aiming for 40 FPS. And the internet was like, nope, that's not happening.
40 FPS on what? Console?
I assume so. But
I was going to say, we're aiming for 40 FPS on PC. What?
No. That would be insane. Nobody would stand for that. But the internet didn't stand for it. And basically there's a big old backlash where people are like, I was excited for this game, but I'm not playing it at 40 FPS. It's 2026, guys. Optimize your game. And they came back and were like, all right, 60 FPS.
Good.
We're just going to make it happen.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. No, that's good. I think we're finally past the era of like sub 60 being acceptable for these big action games. We're like, all right, guys, we've all seen it now. We're not in this transitionary period anymore. We're past. And You want to do your big flashy game at 30 FPS, the internet will not stand for it. So,
and I think you actually have Call of Duty to thank for that, because back in the console days of 30 FPS, I think Call of Duty was one of the few games to actually bump it up to 60. Because back then people were like, 30's fine. And then 60 came around. They're like, oh, it's nice. But going back to 30 is tough.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, I heard, oh my gosh, I was watching a mountain biking video talking about how they make their footage look super good on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were talking about filming at 24 FPS because the human eye can only see 24 frames per second. I was like, this is 2026, dude. That's a meme.
What do you mean?
Yeah. It's so funny. I was just watching it. It's like, because the human eye can only see 24 frames per second, which is why we record at 24 frames per second. I'm like, oh no. He said the thing. Why am I watching this guide by a guy who understands nothing? Oh my God.
Yeah. There's literally like where you have like a ball that travels across the screen, right?
Yeah.
For all the different frame rates. And you can clearly see the difference in the frame rate, right?
Yeah. Well, I remember forever ago when this argument actually held a little bit more water. It was like the flat earthers were there and strong. They're like, it's kind of like one of those silly ideas that enough people glom onto that all of a sudden it becomes fact.
Yeah,
you know, so they
kind of a conspiracy.
Yeah. And I remember just doing a small amount of research, and it was like the Air Force was testing kind of image recognition speeds so they could see how long it would take a pilot to be able to recognize the silhouette of an aircraft and identify stuff. And they're doing flashes, and their pilots were able to identify aircraft that were flashed, I think it was like 1/1000th of a second or something like that, you know?
Wow.
And so like, obviously the human eye, it doesn't see in frame rates. We don't perceive the world through frame rates, but if you were going to mathematically...
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I'm lagging today, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, that would suck.
That would suck. But they've at least proven that we are capable of perceiving things at up to 1/1000th of a second in detail, you know, so, or to enough image recognition detail that we can say that is an F-14 Tomcat or whatever. So it's kind of cool.
The only thing you have to do is have someone play at 60 FPS and then have them go play at 30 FPS, and they'll instantly notice the difference. You can even go up to 120 and then back to 60, and you'll still notice the difference. Beyond 120 is where things get a little bit more murky, and it's going to be very, very subtle. But you can go pretty high and still have a different experience. Well, that's good. I'm glad that they acknowledged it. Hopefully, that doesn't mean the game suffers because it's going to be delayed, or I mean, it should be delayed if it needs to be. But hopefully, the other stuff doesn't suffer because of that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a cool game.
Yeah, same. Hey, here's some fun news. Console sales are down 39%.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
that's fun. It's great.
It's
bad news. Is that because they're all more expensive now, I imagine?
I would imagine it's more expensive, and also the economy's tough right now. Things are hard. It's hard to get by. And for all the hubbub that we've given about physical game sales going away, because Sony and Microsoft are moving in that direction of just digitizing everything, physical game sales are currently lower than they have been since 1995. So
really,
as much as we do want, at least in the States, I don't know how that number factors out to the rest of the world, but I don't think the companies are wrong. All these companies want to make money ultimately at the end of the day. Yeah. So if they're getting rid of a product or a service that some people like, they're not getting rid of it because it doesn't, because of that. They're getting rid of it because it's no longer profitable for them to make physical game sales. So it is the economic, people keep talking about the morality of it, but unfortunately it's all driven by economics. So we want to own physicality of games, but the economics currently are not making that a viable thing for publishers. So
right. And I know people have been saying that the sales of physical copies it's very low. As you just said, it's quite low.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why it's making so much waves right now is because people are getting frustrated just with it's not just games. It's just all media now. All things that everything's a subscription. You don't own anything. You're just renting. And that's frustrating because like we did come from a time when if you bought something, you bought it and you could give it to someone, you could sell it. It was yours.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you didn't own the IP, but at least it was yours to have and use and as you see fit, right? And I think people are getting frustrated more and more as time goes on with every facet of the current system. And I think it's just another one going down that route.
It's really tough because so the other day I put on Pacific Rim for my kids, and that's like a fun monster robot movie, and they had a blast watching it. But I had a Blu-ray of it, and I was like, oh, cool. We'll put in the Blu-ray. We'll watch the Blu-ray. Okay. Load up the menu, go through the mandatory pre-roll ads, right? You can try and skip through them, but it's a huge pain in the butt. You're already 5-10 minutes in before everything's loaded up and the movie's ready to play. And then you got to go into the options and be like, oh, select the correct sound system that you have and all this other jank, Get that set up, start watching it, having a blast. Halfway through the movie, Blu-ray playback starts to give us errors. The screen starts getting all pixelated and stuff. I'm like, right. So physical discs, they degrade over time. Like they do have, there's a shelf life for them, unfortunately.
Really? Blu-ray? Really?
Yeah. So basically, my physical
generally
media
lasts 30 to 100 years. What are you doing to your discs, level cap?
But think about it, Matt. They haven't been around for 30
discs.
They haven't been around for 30 to 100 years. So that estimate is all just like we think,
I wonder how it degrades though, because if you're just having it in like a box, it just sits there. It's just
I really
plastic,
don't know. Yeah, no, I haven't done anything crazy to my disc. Like it's fine, just sitting in a protective case for years. What do you think I'm doing? Playing frisbee with the thing? Like, anyway, I was just sort of sitting there like, right. I get why streaming and all that stuff just absolutely dominated physical because the problem with physical is they front loaded all this ads, all these annoying menu interfaces, all this jank around it, made it impossible to back up that physical media. Like if you try and rip a Blu-ray, it's a whole thing, right? If you want to back up that physical, it's just a huge pain in the butt to do any of that stuff. So you're like, okay, streaming got rid of that whole problem there. And it's like physical just wasn't doing any favors to themselves. And if that physical media gets damaged in some way, I don't have recourse to get that video back. So it's like, I'm not advocating for the digital world because I think it's extremely exploitive, but
no, clearly you are. Clearly.
I'm just saying the grass is greener mentality. Like my first foray jumping back into physical media and it failed catastrophically. So,
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I feel like that's a little bit of a one-off though.
You can fix the physical media problems. It's just that they're not going to because we're already in the streamer world,
Yeah.
My buddy's little indie game launched last week. And
little indie game.
Yeah. Mortal Shell 2 dropped and it's getting very good critic reviews and pretty good reception from the community in general. Like, I think people are pretty excited about it. Sales have been good. I think people are vibing.
Very positive on Steam.
Yep. Very positive. And I've been seeing nothing but clips of crazy boss fights on the internet for the past week for Mortal Shell 2. There's a lot of...
Have you had a chance to play it?
No, because I've been playing WARDOGS instead. I had the option.
That's fair. That's fair. You got that dog in you. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. It's more of just here's my amount of time for gaming this week. I can either play Mortal Shell 2 or WARDOGS. And so WARDOGS was time limited, so I had to do it.
I've been enjoying my time with Mortal Shell 2. We talked about it a little bit last week.
Yeah, but that was pre-release, right? Did you?
No, I think that was like the day... Maybe no, yeah, it was pre-release. Yeah, you're right. They had if you pre-order like the digital deluxe edition, you get the 3-day early access or something. So you're right.
How far into it are you?
I played it for 2 nights. I did a couple of the big dungeons, and the boss fights are solid. I think this is one of the stronger, snappier Souls-likes. A lot of Souls-likes can feel very floaty, and you don't feel like you're really attached to the like environment and the world and the creatures and everything. And this feels like there's some punch to it, and you really feel like they're moving around and hitting hard. That said, though, and I don't know if that's because of the, I don't know. Sorry, I noticed a little bit of lag, and it ruined my train of thought. One issue I'm running into is they made the world very explorable, which is really fun, but I don't think they have enough enemy variety to justify that exploration. I have encountered the same enemies over and over and over and over again, and I'm exploring new areas, new dungeons, and I'm like smaller dungeons, right? And I'm getting rewarded for it, and there's some cool moments in there from time to time. I was like, hey, it's that enemy I fought since the very beginning of the game. It's good to see you again, sir. So I don't know if that's because I'm exploring too much and they don't intend you to really do that. And they're like, just make your way to the big dungeons and then, maybe you'll get some stuff along the way kind of a vibe. But yeah, if I had one critique, it would be that as great as the combat is and as great as that combat feels, the repetition does get a little bit much, at least for my taste.
Okay. Fair enough. I do plan to take a real swing at that game at some point, and hopefully don't need to rely on the crutches that it gives you too much, but I got a feeling, Matt, I'm going to be using some of those OP weapons.
No shame in that. I will say once you get further in, it becomes easier. Once you get like some shells that you vibe with.
I saw some videos of people just smashing through stuff, and I was like, I didn't know you could, like, it looks like it gets way more powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So that's cool. I love progression creep like that, in that where you're just like, I'm so much more powerful than I used to be. Cool.
To go from 1 to 2, it is a night and day difference, and they got to be proud because they've made, in my opinion, one of the cooler Souls-like games. Maybe not the best because there's some other great ones out there too, but this is definitely a competent made game.
I was gonna say is like they have this. It's funny because there is a style to Souls-like games, but their style, I think, is some of the better style that I've seen so far. And there's some really fun, dark humor in it too, where like I was watching somebody fight a boss and like you're just punching it in its balls the whole time. Like that's the weak point, and you're just like cutting the boss in the balls.
I mean, it's a weak point for sure.
Yeah. But you're just like, okay, like this is funny from a design standpoint. They're just probably laughing. They're like, what if you just punch the boss in the balls the whole time? They're like, yeah. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
And that's just the level that the game is on. It's sort of like a dark, demonic, humorous game where you're just like, okay, it is kind of funny if you think about it. Like a lot of the lore and stuff is a little tongue in cheek as well, which is fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I am, outside of gaming,
well, outside of gaming, as an outside, would you like to tell the class what happened to your face?
I'm actually wearing a little bit of cover up, like concealer stuff on it right now. Yesterday I went for a sick bike ride, Matt, and I was doing sick jumps on my sick bike
jumps.
ride.
Yeah.
Like Napoleon Dynamite style jumps where just like, inches of air. No, I was sessioning, as they call it. You session these trails so you learn them better and you can hit them faster and stuff, and it's fun. Last session of the day, as it always is the case, I was getting pretty comfortable and going down the easiest section of the trail. Like nothing crazy.
It's always the one that gets you.
Easiest section, just somehow the dirt got it was sort of a looser dirt area. I was picking up more speed because I was getting more confident. Tap the brakes. Back of the bike gets out from under me, starts to slide. I go down. It's the easiest fall of all time, right? Like this would be, literally nothing on my body hurts. It was the most basic fall ever, except that I was moving very fast, and this was a forest trail. And right on the side of the forest was a gigantic log with spiky bits just sticking out of it. And I slammed
what is that doing next to the trail?
Yeah. I slammed my face right into it.
Oh my gosh.
I was wearing a full face protection and eye pro. So basically the marks are what made it through that, because full face helmet has open parts on it. And so basically just what it wasn't touching. What freaked me out is that it like really stabbed up my neck, like right around my jugular area. And I was like, okay.
It's a good thing you had that helmet on. You would have been
if I didn't have that helmet, it would have been gross. Like, I don't know. I might not have an eye or something. It was brutal. Anyway, had a blast biking. Superficial damage done to me, but it made me go, oh, I feel pretty good about it. Investing in full face helmet protection is very expensive. Like, it's stupidly pricey for some of those helmets. But I was initially biking with only a top helmet before, and I was like, if I'm going to start doing these crazier trails more regularly, I'm going to get full face. And got that one just in the nick of time.
It's good. Well, I'm glad you're all right.
Thank you. Still highly recommend mountain biking. Feel totally fine in every way, other than almost dying on a giant spiky. It was such a basic crash too. It was basically felt like sliding in a home plate type crash, where you're just okay, the bike slides out from under me. I'm sliding.
Tree branch.
There's just a giant immovable log full of spikes just waiting to slam me in the face. So yeah, but absolute blast. Loving that trail in general and figuring out how to hit stuff at faster speeds and bike like a madman. I can't recommend mountain biking enough. It's too much fun, though it is sort of location dependent. I realized that I wouldn't have gotten into this sport last time I went down to SoCal, because I was like, I wouldn't want to bike around here. Like, these trails would be really kind of lame and hot and sunny and whatever. And up here I'm biking in mountains in the forest and hitting rock features and stuff, and just having a blast with it, man. It's good times.
That's good.
Also, it's like the health benefits are solid too, aside from smashing your face on stuff.
Yeah.
Outside of that is when you get older, like you and me, Matt, we're entering our middle-aged years, and you got to start taking care of yourself in certain ways. Not smashing your face on stuff, but you need impact and type sports and activities, because your bones, they'll get weak and brittle. So you can't just do the exercise cycle all day, because your bones are gonna get weak. You need impact sports, heavy lifting, heavy impact stuff. Mountain biking, great for that. You're constantly hitting drops and jumps and all that kind of stuff, and your whole body's just getting shaken up. And so I'm like, it's my middle-age activity that's going to keep my bones intact. This is all super fascinating for our viewership, but you know what?
I mean, I'm fascinated.
If you're getting older, you gotta find an activity that you enjoy that'll help.
Which we all are.
Yep. I can't work out. That's the thing, Matt. Is like I just go insane.
You find it too boring?
It's too boring. My brain doesn't jive with it, so I gotta throw myself out in the forest at high speed and see what happens.
And that you are.
Yep. What's nice is I see deer and rabbit every single time I go. And I always wonder, I'm like, there's a mountain lion somewhere. He's watching these deer and rabbit. Like, that's what he's eating, the deer and rabbit.
They're watching it.
They're not just walking around willy-nilly, not getting preyed upon. There's mountain lions out here. And I know there's somewhere.
Probably is.
Well, there definitely is. One of the trail systems I ride, they find mountain lion.
Oh, it warns you?
Scat all over the place. And then they have trails where they're like Cougar Ravine or something like that. I'm like, why'd they call it Cougar Ravine?
I wonder why.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure it's just a cool name, right? Not that somebody saw a cougar in this ravine. Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, having a blast with that. We watched Highlander last night, the original Highlander.
Never saw it. I mean, obviously I know the memes, but I've never seen it.
It is funny. I was laughing a lot this time because it's such an old movie. And it's got full old movie vibes. But one
1986.
thing, yeah, it's still watchable, and Queen does the sound. That's why I wanted to watch it. The kids are on a Queen kick right now, so I'm playing Queen in the car for them all the time, and the Highlander soundtrack came on, and I was like, oh, this is a good soundtrack. Like, I want to watch this movie now. And we did, and it is funny, dude. It's certainly a recommendation. I highly recommend watching it. It's got some cheesy bits. It's got some really good bits in it. And then also, they just tried so hard with the movie. Like, when they're making it, everything just, you can feel they gave so much effort where they're like, this is going to be the coolest shot ever. And so there's all these transitions where they constantly do flashbacks to his earlier life and then back to present life. And every time they do a flashback, of which there's like 20 flashbacks throughout the film, they do a super clever transition. But because this was made in the 80s, they have to really plan out these transitions. They can't just CGI it in post. And so they have all these like sometimes hilarious transitions, sometimes amazing transitions where you're just like, how'd they do that? But the one that always shows up on the internet is the meme, is the fish tank transition, where he's like polishing his sword and then like the camera goes off into the fish tank and then comes up out of the fish tank and they're like in a lake. I'm like, how'd they do that? Okay, that was clever. But like, it kind of became like almost a drinking game type thing where you're like, okay, wait for the cool transition. What's the cool transition gonna be? And
that's fun though.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
It's a very entertaining watch, and the acting is so wild and so over the top and so nuts. And the main actor his English is so bad, and he was like, they did all the main actors did all the sword fight choreography for it, and like apparently the main guy's super nearsighted, so he really struggled with it. And you're watching it, you're like, they're not the best fighters, but you know, they make their swords spark whenever they hit each other, so it looks awesome. And then you're like watching. It's funny watching 80s cool, good action choreography versus like modern good action choreography, and you're like, oh, okay, like we've improved a bit.
We've improved a significant amount.
Yeah. But solid film. It's been on my mind because the Highlander remake with Henry Cavill playing Highlander.
Yeah.
I think it's slated for like a next year release or something.
That's probably right, yeah.
So I'm very excited about that. It could be a total disaster, like who knows, but it's definitely a film that I'm like, this could be an epic remake if they did it right. It could be super good.
Could be really cool.
Yeah. It's the classic. It was like the power fantasy before that was a meme or a thing, you know. It's like they fight each other, they gain the power of the guys that they kill and keep on going.
Highlander's cool and all, but it's not the one. So
the movie The One?
With the movie The One.
Yeah. With Jet Li? Yeah.
Yeah. I like that movie.
Yeah.
It was nonsense though.
Yeah. Everyone from our generation knows that film because it was just so ridiculous when it came out.
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah. It's the ultimate Jet Li and Jason Statham.
Statham, yeah.
Ego trip, basically.
Yeah.
Jet Li was
Jason Statham was the time traveler cop.
Yeah.
Or dimensional cop. It wasn't time travel. It was different dimensions.
Yeah. I don't even remember. All I remember is Jet Li fighting himself a lot in that film.
Yeah.
Which was like, the only one who can beat Jet Li in a fight is Jet Li. You know, that was like in his contract. He's like, nobody will beat me other than me. You're like, okay.
Was he Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, he's Arnold. He's born in Austria. You didn't know that?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
Any books, movies, out of gaming experiences?
Really. Been watching a little Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
You know, I watched the most recent Ted Lasso. Watched a little bit of Reacher season 3. There's season 4 out, and I did not like season 2, so I just stopped and I didn't watch season 3. But I was like, you know, I'll watch season 3. So I watched 2 episodes of that. It's okay. Big buff dude goes around and punches people a lot.
Yeah,
it's fun. But the not the acting, but the story in season 2 was so I couldn't look past how rough certain aspects of it were. Where it's like it's taking me too far out of it. What's nice about Reacher is that each season is disconnected from the other one for the most part.
Okay,
and so you can just go in and be like, it's Reacher. He's traveling around the world and doing new things in a different place. Just watch it, right? It's like a completely different story.
Yeah, that's it reminds me of old TV serials where like maybe it's like the Incredible Hulk or something, where he'd be in some new town and they'd be like, oh, help us with the local sheriff something, or and then he solves that problem. And so it sounds like they're doing that more, but just with a season, right? They're like, oh
yeah. So it's not episodic because like it's you have your
season Sonic.
Seasononic. Yeah. So it tells us a full story arc. It's not episodic where every single episode is different or a different like challenge or mystery. It's the 2 episodes I've seen are fine. It's good, but it's also nothing to really write home about.
I find that show a little bit of a mystery because I couldn't make it through a single episode. I started watching when it was like, this is terrible. I don't understand why people like this. But I just found all the lines and the delivery super cheesy and super weird. Yeah. And I was like, what is... It's supposed to be serious, but he's also this like super buff, like I'm righteous guy essentially. And things just seem to work out for him a lot. He does a lot of things where I'm like, that could have turned out really bad in any sort of real life scenario. But because we're watching a TV scenario, it just works out that he just punches the guy into submission or something. And you're like, great. Glad he didn't have a knife or a gun or it's definitely one of those things where it's like the plot armor is so thick that if the protagonist jumps into a situation where everybody has guns, they're all like, oh, hang on, let me get my weapon ready. And then he like punches them in the face.
The plot armor is as thick as Reacher is.
That's a good one. Indeed, sir.
He is thick.
I know. That guy is like, he's like one of the characters he's like one of those guys from Game of Thrones, the big buff, like the giant or whatever his name was.
Okay, yeah. The mountain.
Yeah, the mountain, that's it. It just, there's too much mass of person. They're like, that's too...
He's a big guy.
It's too much mass. You don't need that. Like, you're wasting resources. Like, you could be thinner.
What's funny is there in season 3, he pokes fun at a guy for exercising and like with weights. Yeah. And he's like, why would you do that? Like, that's silly. And it's like, dude, whoever wrote this either doesn't understand what it takes to get as big as the actor is, or like I don't know, because the idea that
it's push-ups, Matt. It's just push-ups.
It's just push-up. The whole notion that he's just walking around and hitchhiking from like town to town and he doesn't own anything and somehow eats enough calories, eats enough protein, and also exercises enough to be that big, but doesn't actually go to a gym and still look that huge is impressive. He's built. He's literally just built different.
He'd have to have those like Andre the Giant growth hormone things going on to be that big without actually hitting the gym. Like, it's just insane. I didn't realize they had a line in that about working out or whatever. It's like, okay, bro.
Yeah, it was. I kind of rolled my eyes like, all right. Granted, the guy he was talking to was an asshole and he didn't like him, so it kind of maybe it was more of just to poke fun of the dude.
Get that one up, that jab in there. Well, let's see. So to round things off, we got Gamescom starting. Well, it'll technically start by the time this podcast is out, and I will be keeping my eyes peeled for Fable. And apparently there's going to be some Gears of War stuff and other things. I don't know. Just that little old game there. But I'm curious. This is kind of the last beacon of mega game shows. There's like, everything's kind of gone digital. This is the last like in-person big game event that they do. That's sort of the E3 equivalent. So I think there's a lot more being lumped into Gamescom now. But yeah, still Fable's kind of the main thing I'm looking forward to at Gamescom. So hopefully that looks
I hope it turns out great.
Yes, as well. And then we got GTA 6 trailer dropping, and then we can talk about that. And
that'll be big. That'll be massive. Star Wars, the new Star Wars XCOM game comes out this week too. That'll be pretty exciting.
Okay.
Fireteam Elite Fireteam 2, the Alien Fireteam games coming out. Got some titles.
Yeah.
Got some games.
Cool. Well, everybody, thank you so much for dropping by the Level With Me podcast. We appreciate y'all very much. If you want to come by and watch us stream it live on Monday mornings at the butt crack of dawn, you can check out our Patreon linked below. And then we hang out for a little bit after the Patreon, discuss what's going on in life, and it's a good time. But for everybody else out there and everybody in general, Matt is going to leave you with some very helpful advice at the end of every episode. Take it away, Matt.
My helpful advice this week is wear a helmet.
Oh, I knew we were going there. I knew that was coming.
As soon as you said, I was like, that is the easiest advice right there. I'm grabbing that.
Yep. Don't wait on buying safety gear. There's this dumb mental folly that I almost made, and I can see myself making it because safety gear is expensive. Good safety gear costs some money, but you don't want to make the mistake of, oh, let me buy that after I get the injury. You don't want to get injured and then be like, oh, maybe I should buy a chest protector or a full face helmet or what. Buy it first. If you see yourself getting into it. If
you're serious about it, yeah.
Yeah. Buy it first. Don't wait until you get the injury to buy it. Which saved my butt this time around, because I might not be sitting here right now if I wasn't wearing a full face helmet. I don't know what that log would have done to me, but it wouldn't have been good. Yeah.
A lot of people don't wear helmets because they're like, oh, it's uncomfortable. Oh, it messes with my hair. It's like, well, you know what also messes with your hair?
Well, I haven't seen any mountain biker without a helmet on. But
that's good. But I'm talking more like road biking, and I'm not expecting regular viewers to go out mountain biking necessarily on jumps and stuff. But like, it doesn't even matter if you're just biking around a neighborhood. Still, wear a helmet.
Yeah.
Like, just do it. Just do it.
100%. 100%. Well, everybody, thank you for dropping by. We appreciate y'all so much. And we got more games and stuff to talk about next week. Excited for it. See y'all. Bye-bye.
Take care.